We will talk about proteins, their health effects, long-term safety, correlations with muscle growth, and protein powder is better or whole food protein. Generally, proteins are building blocks for muscles. That's why it's so popular among bodybuilders. And when we work out, our muscle fiber is damaged, and this damage is microscopical, and after recovery period, repairing happens, and during repairing, new muscle fibers are created, and they are thicker than previous ones and stronger than previous ones. That's how muscle growth is happening. And for muscle growth, protein is important, especially after workout, because protein consists of amino acids, and these amino acids are crucial for muscle fiber formation. Now here is question: if person will eat protein and not exercise, if his muscle will grow? It will not happen. If person exercise and eat proteins, this combination is needed for muscle growth, because without this damage of muscle fibers, muscle growth will not happen. Even this person can eat lots of proteins daily. Now another question: if protein foods are better than protein powder? There is several meta-analyses, and answer is that protein powder for muscle growth is slightly better, but this difference is not significant. So both whole protein foods and protein powder are good for muscle growth, but protein powder or protein supplementation is slightly better, but this difference is not significant. Now, what are the most important and best protein containing foods? Chicken breast is first because it contains all amino acids what person needs. It's easily digestible. Also, eggs are classical form of protein, especially white part of egg. Beef, chicken peas, nuts and seeds also contain protein, and Greek yogurt also. So this food contains proteins, and if person eats them enough, it's also sufficient for optimal muscle growth. But if for some people it's better to intake protein powder, sometimes it's easier. But in cost effectiveness, usually eating whole food protein are better. Now let's say about weight loss. If protein causes weight loss, there is no direct correlation between increased intake of protein and weight loss. There is some correlation indirectly but not direct, because higher consumption of protein causes appetite reduction, because you feel full longer after intaking protein, so there is higher chance that you will eat less calories overall and weight loss. So it has some effect, but indirect effect, not directly. Now let's say, what is safe dosage of protein? Upper safe limit or upper safe dosage is considered 2 gram per kilogram daily. Sometimes this dosage can be higher and it's also safe, but generally considered 2 gram per kilogram per day. It's around 140 grams daily. And what is main concern? Why we saying about safe dosage? Because there is risk of kidney damage, and we have meta-analysis about kidney damage and protein intake correlation. And in this meta-analysis there was more than 100,000 participants, and they intake 2.2 grams per kilogram protein daily, and in these groups there was no increased risk of kidney damage. So 2.2 grams was safe for kidney, but in people who already has pre-existing kidney conditions, this risk was increased, but not importantly. So if person is healthy, even 2.2 grams of protein per kilogram per daily is safe. But if person has kidney problem, then it's better to reduce protein intake. Now let's say about cancer risk, because many say that protein intake increase cancer risk, but it's not correct because we have meta-analysis, more than 700,000 participants, and there was no correlation between cancer risk and protein intake. So we can say that proteins generally safe even if person intakes 2.2 grams per day, if this person is generally healthy. And now let's say what is optimal dosage. We already said upper limit, right? It was 2 grams, around 2 grams per kilogram. And what is optimal? Optimal dosage means that muscle growth is maximal, but dosage is minimal. In this case, a study was made among 1,000 athletes, and optimal dosage was 1.6 gram per kilogram. So 1.6 gram per kilogram is considered optimal dosage for muscle growth, and no need more is enough for optimal muscle growth. And now let's say about supplementation of proteins. We have several types, and most popular is whey protein. Whey protein is byproduct of cheese making. When you make cheese, left product is whey protein, and whey protein has lots of benefits because of its quick absorption, rich amino acid profile, and it's optimal for muscle growth. That's why most athletes intake whey proteins. Another type of protein supplement is casein. Casein is also milk protein, and it's digests slowly, and it's good for muscle maintenance and between meals. So if you want weight loss, you can eat casein between your meals, and it can decrease, and it can cause fullness and decrease calorie intake, and it can help weight loss. Another protein supplementation are soybean and pea proteins. It becomes more popular recently because it's plant-based alternatives of protein supplementation. There was some studies about soybean and testosterone level, and there was some concerns that they can change testosterone level in men and decrease testosterone level and increase estrogen level, but it was not true. There were several meta-analyses about it, and this correlation in intake of soybean and hormonal changes was not clear and was not significant. So it's safe for most people, and they are popular because plant-based proteins becoming more and more popular recently. And when we're saying about studies, most studies are made, protein intake study participants is around 50 grams per day in most studies. When you're reading study about protein intake, protein supplementation, and you have no idea and there is no specified details how much protein was intaken by participants, you can think that it's around 50 grams per day. Now let's say other health effects of protein intake. First is high protein intake reduce risk of fractures in elderly 15%, and another 35% if your daily calorie intake 35% is protein, you have less risk of metabolic syndrome, 20% of better muscle retention in elderly. So high protein intake has its benefits, especially for elderly, and for people who watch their weight. And here is interesting meta-analysis also in 700,000 participants, and observation was made 25 years. High intake of proteins, animal proteins, were correlated with 5% increased risk of mortality, while plant-based proteins were correlated with 10% decreased risk of mortality. So that's why this plant-based proteins becomes more and more popular over time, because it's directly correlated with reduced mortality, while animal-based proteins were correlated with increased mortality. Although we have no specific explanations how or why or if protein has direct correlation with death rate or mortality and why it happens, we have no this reasoning, but we have only correlations after large meta-analysis. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you for your interest. Thank you for your watching. If you like my videos, please thumbs up. If you like my channel, please subscribe. Thank you very much. Bye for now.